So we're introduced to an interesting character. She doesn't last very long in the story. Her name's Clarisse McClellan, but she manages to help Montag change his entire worldview, and it's very fascinating the role she plays. She's a young girl, about your age actually. She's a teenager, and she's a combination of opposites. She's both carefree and full of care. She's happy and unhappy at the same time. She's thoughtful and thought provoking, and she says some of the most interesting things in the whole book. Um, anyway, she meets with a bad end, and I want to read you a little passage here. It's on page 60. Here or there, that's bound to occur. Clarisse McClellan, we've a record on her family. We've watched them carefully. Heredity and environment are funny things. You can't rid yourselves of all the odd ducks in just a few years. The home environment can undo a lot you try to do at school. That's why we've lowered the kindergarten age year after year until now we're almost snatching them from the cradle. We had some false alarms on the McClellans when they lived in Chicago. Never found a book. Uncle had a mixed record, antisocial. The girl, she was a time bomb. Family had been feeding her subconscious, I'm sure. From what I saw of her school record, anyway, she didn't want to know how a thing was done, but why. That can be embarrassing. You ask why to a lot of things, and you wind up very unhappy indeed if you keep at it. The poor girl's better off dead. So what do we know about Clarisse McClellan, except that she asked a lot of questions about why things were the way they were, which is kind of interesting. But the commentary here that struck me as interesting was how they're lowering the kindergarten age lower and lower and lower, because the government wants to infiltrate young people's minds from a very early age, and they don't want them going home to their homes and questioning anything. And we don't want the families to have too much to do with their upbringing, because we want everything to be governmentally sanctioned. It has long been a concern of educators that we are educating children too soon. We're expecting too much of them in kindergarten and preschool instead of just allowing them to play and socialize. And maybe that's a commentary that Ray Bradbury is starting to make here in this novel that's still relevant today in 2020.